welcome back to another episode of the Calm Mind, Better Results podcast. It's your boy Make a Wish here, trying to bring you another one. And this is something I've been thinking about for a while now. Well, not thinking about for a really while, but this is actually something that's very important to talk about, okay? So, you need something to think about here, right? So, in the relationship, there are two things we're going to talk about today. Because recently I had, not recently, it's been about a month and a half, 2 months now. I threw in between my learnings and studying and better self-improvement stuff for life coaching stuff. And I've read a book, the Five Love Languages. I can't remember the author's name, okay? Pretty interesting book. Give you a lot of things to think about, all right? A lot of things to think about. So about this here, there's two train of thoughts here that I want to discuss about. Which one thing in the book said is very true. All right? So one person, try to decide which one I'm gonna start with this. One person, all it takes is one person in a relationship to make the relationship better. Regardless of how bad or how dire the situation is, one person changing their thought process about how they're going to do things and act with things and how to actually intentionally be consistent about making improvements to better the relationship can make a relationship much better. This actually is spoke about in the book, and this is a train of thought that's actually abnormal for the normal person who goes in a relationship. Because for the most part, when we go through problems in our relationships, the number one thing that people like to do is lay blame. They like to, I was going to say we, because I have been in that boat quite as well often. Living in that boat, swimming in that boat right in the middle of the sea. So many boats out there, so many people laying blame and putting blame on the other person in the relationship for why they're having the issues they're having, why the distress that they're having in life is due to this other person and not anything that they're doing or lack thereof for how they're trying to make things better for themselves. It's always somebody else's fault in a relationship. And in a relationship, you always want to lay blame on the other person. Most people lack accountability in regard to taking the consideration to take into account. For the most part, when there's problems in a relationship, it takes two people to do so. All right? So with that being said, as I started off, all it takes is one person to help make improvements in a relationship. And in this book, the 5 love signs, the story that was told was talk about it. There's a woman and a man. I'm not gonna get too detailed into the story because go listen to the book. You don't wanna put the food juice in this, okay? Very good story. But a woman and a man. This woman they were together for countless years. 20, I think it was 21, 22, 18, something like that. And this woman was consistently trying to, well, not consistently trying to stay, but she wanted to stay with marriage. She wanted to, because, back in the days when people got into relationships, regardless of how good or bad they may have been, for how long they have been, people want to stick things out because people get very comfortable and familiar with the person they're with. And, I mean, when people are married, you're making that contractual bond saying, to death do we part. And if you're still alive, you should be separating. That's the whole concept behind it. So like I was saying, this woman, she wanted to do something to improve her relationship. So she's talking to the guy, which I forget if he was a counselor at the time, or a therapist, or something of that nature, or just a keynote speaker. I'm not sure at this point in time. Talk about his book. But he had given her advice to learn, well, first to figure out what his love language is and speak that, and to consistently do nothing but that for about, I think she said 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 something, okay? And not 6 days. But that was the whole point of it, was that she was consistent, regardless of what he said, regardless of what he did to her, regardless of reaction to whatever. The whole point of it was for her to consistently do what he desired from her in a relationship, not demanding speaking, but for what his love language spoke about and what he wanted. So she was to do that without question, without fail, and to ask a certain question. I forget the question because I haven't read the book, like I said, about a month or so. But the whole point of that was she kept constantly doing the things to improve the relationship, from looking at it from his perspective to some degree, and doing things that he would really appreciate, and so that would help flip his life, turn upside down, you know? Like, take a minute, just sit right there. So according to the story in the book, she kept doing that, and lo and behold, things started to miraculously start to change, and he started seeing improvements. First he was suspectful of her, thinking she wanted something, and whatever it was that she was up to, he wasn't gonna buy into it. And then she kept going, and lo and behold, things kept happening, and bam, improvement to the relationship. Things happened, things changed, and then he came back and talked to the guy, the author of the book. It was like, yo, my man, what the hell is happening? You know what I'm saying? I feel like a changed man. Like, what is it you told my wife for her to do to me that I want to do things to her now? You know what I'm saying? And bada bing, bada boom, things started happening, and then, that's what happened. As she started making drastic changes within herself, improving. Rephrase that. Not necessarily. She was reconsidering what she was doing the entire time for her natural habits and how to do things, and that made it easier for her to look at it from his perspective and to do things to tend to his needs, to get him to do what she wanted her to do, which was be a better man in a relationship, if that was what her desire was. But then the end result was to have a better relationship. Okay, cha-ching, success, that shit worked. All right. And like I said, issues to have with that, which I mean it's actually very, very effective, manipulative, if you want to not, pillow that shit. But doing things like that, sowing those grains will reap the benefits in a positive way, especially when it's not a malicious intent. That is how things can happen. All it really takes is one person to make things better in a relationship, okay? But here's the dilemma here. Depending on, like I said, lucky enough for her, I'm not sure how many weeks it took exactly in the story. I mean, in real life, not in the story and so in the book. How long it actually took for her to start seeing results, for him to start seeing things about what happened and start to make the change and accepting it and trying to do things to be better for the relationship. How long does it take for someone to get what they want out of a relationship before they start turning things around and start considering the other person and what they want in their relationship, the other person that they're in a relationship with? That's what it comes down to. Because in the same experience, I did the same thing with my wife. To some degree, okay? I committed a bunch of time in a situation to help make things better. Because the thing is, first of all, before I started diving further into my own personal information here, let me just say this out loud. No relationship is perfect. No matter what you think right now, your relationship is not perfect. Your parents' relationship is not perfect. The relationship of the couple you see on TV, who you're following, or on Instagram, whatever, that is giving you all this information about how great things can be in your relationship, is not perfect. There are always going to be issues no matter what. And As long as two different people have two different perspectives, they're always going to clash at some point in time. Point blank, period. Someone's always going to be happier than the other person, no matter what. No matter what. Okay? So like I said, going further with what I was saying, I was doing this stuff for my wife, and I was showing better results. Because everything I talk about, I go through for myself and see how effective it really is before I start preaching to other people. Because I'm a tester of things. I don't just take words blindly and just take it and hope for the best. I'm a tester of things. So in this situation, like I said, I wanted to test this out and see how effective it was. Drastically changed. Drastic results. Effective. My wife was just so happy and blissful and gleeful and all these great things. I was just happy just seeing the happiness swell up in her face and how happy she was. She's so jovial all the time and fucking fantastic, all right? But here's the thing, all right? I was doing it for a few weeks. All my life coaching things, everything I was doing that I'm talking about, that I learned about, I started doing for myself. That's actually how it should be. Always how it be. Always practice what you preach, all right? Because always better strategy. Let me rephrase that. There's always strategies in life to do things a different way to have better results than what you're currently having. Not necessarily the strategy itself is better than what you're doing, but it can be better. It can give you better results depending on what you're getting. Because everyone has strategies. The results may or may not be what they want to get or how great they are. Because if they're good here, you can do something else to get it better. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're bad here, you can do something else to improve it here. Also, you could be up here and try something different and bring your results a little worse, depending on how things are. Not a whole bunch of strategies. Everyone's different. Take everything with a grain of salt and apply it to your life and see how things work out. Test things all the time. So like I was saying, I forget how long was I doing it. I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 weeks, give or take. Okay, 4 or 5 weeks. And the thing about that is, I personally wasn't asking for anything particular to happen in my relationship. I wasn't looking for anything different. I want to see what would happen. And then to see if me doing what I was doing would actually end up not necessarily turning my wife around, but changing the way she would do things and think about things and how she approached things when we talked about things. All right, so like I said, all that stuff being said, this comes up to the next point I want to say. How much time does one person put into a relationship to save a relationship? I'm not saying that my relationship is dying, but how much time does someone put into a relationship by themselves to try and improve it for the other person in the relationship, with them not receiving the benefits themselves to help keep the relationship going strong? Because there is a certain tolerance, a certain level of compromisation that all of us can and will go through in our lives, or can and will go through. Okay, can and might go through. That's a better word. Can and might go through in life. And with that being said, how much are you willing to put up with and give up of yourself for your individuality and your goals and your dreams to help make your relationship work? Because in my situation, I'm married with my wife, okay? Marriage is, that lifetime commitment type situation, when the contract is honored correctly, okay? It's a lifetime commitment. You swear in to be with this person, and your other family gets fucking half the farm and 6 cows or something like that, or whatever they say in Africa, and the prestige, the prestige and status, that stuff too. But when you're in a marriage, it's a little different than a regular relationship in regards to commitment level status. It's easier to get out of a relationship than a marriage. Financially, not necessarily emotionally, but it could be a lot uglier too. But yeah, who knows? Okay, not who knows, but people know. But that's the point I'm making. So, like I said, how long can you put up yourself into a relationship, working as one person, trying to save the relationship, without the other person making the effort to do things to try and benefit the relationship itself. That's the one, not really an issue, but that's one thing that I have with that line of thinking, because I honestly do believe that it does take one person to really effectively change the relationship for the better. But the question is, how receptive is the other person going to be to the changes before they decide to walk out? Because I don't want to get too far into this one, but this is going to be a completely different episode at some point in time. Is that when people have a falling out relationship and the relationship is going to, when the relationship ends, never, ever, ever, ever did the relationship end that exact moment. Never. People always consciously think about ending the relationship way before the relationship actually ends. If not one party, both parties. That's how it is. It's never like that. No, I wouldn't make a joke, but even that joke is wrong. I would say about people just quitting work randomly out of the blue. No, even then, people don't quit jobs spur of the moment, out of the blue. That's not how it works. People always quit in the mind way before. People always quit the relationship way before it actually happens, okay? Every time. So that one you can take to the bank, because that's actually very important. That's gonna be a TikTok right there, just FYI. So like I said, that was one line of thought thinking I had to think. How long can someone try to salvage a relationship by themselves before the other person putting any energy or effort into it to help sustain the other person in a relationship? Because you can keep a relationship afloat at a certain point in time. But if the relationship is too far gone for one party or both parties, it's going to be extremely hard to salvage, if not already too late. Because typically what happens when people don't get what they want in a certain relationship, they tend to take that relationship needs and desires elsewhere. And they may do that still within the relationship. That's why we have so many people on, what is it, AshleyMadison.com or whatever the fuck it is, that website for married men or women trying to have adulterous affairs. There's a reason why it's so popular. That's why. They want to maintain this void. They want to fill that void somewhere else while still being in a relationship. That happens quite often. And if that already happened in a relationship, or someone's already thinking about being out the door in a relationship, it's really hard to salvage a relationship in that regards. That's where that part there goes. And man, this is a long one. I might just make it just 2 parts. Or just split it up. Or just rock it out one whole one. I don't know yet. Let me decide in a little bit, okay? But I'm going to leave it at that part there on that. Now, the other train of thought, like I said, which is the more fundamental one, the one that a lot of people are more consciously aware about, okay? It takes 2 people to make a relationship work. It takes 2 people to make a relationship work. Unfortunately, I have as big of a story to say as the last one did for this one, but that's typically how it is. Because, as I was saying about the first part 1 here, now I'll probably make 2 parts, is that even though one person is able to help improve the dynamic of the relationship and try to make the other person be more receptive to doing more things in a beneficial way to the relationship, the other person too has to be receptive and then reciprocate those feelings of love and joy back to the other person to help maintain that ping pong shit of a relationship, how things go. That's how it works. Because no matter, at the end of the day, like I said before, if one person, because as relationships simply start to plunder down into the rabbit hole of despair, typically one person starts pulling away, or the other person's too happy, and then this person notices they're pulling away, and this person starts pulling away a little bit, and this person may come a little closer, a little further, or they might pull a little farther back, whatever. And it's a separation. Like I said, starts up here. There we go. Some shit like that, okay? That's kind of how relationships work more often than not. So one person thinks the relationship is going great, one person is completely oblivious. Well, that person obviously completely oblivious, because the other person is completely in horrible mental state because of what's been going on in the relationship the entire time. And person A has completely been blind to the fact that person B has been suffering for as long as they have been. And they're just tolerating a whole bunch of shit because they're in a relationship and they're trying to save face or whatever status, familiar thing they do for other people. You know what I'm saying? That can go both ways. And that's how things work. It takes two people to make a relationship work, because at the end of the day, you cannot make somebody love you. You can't. Sorry, breaking news. Even though, like I said, that first train of thought we talk about, that it takes one person to save a relationship, part one, you still have to have both people in the relationship willing to be able to pull their own weight. A relationship is two people coming together with two different perspectives, lifestyles, histories, and all that jazz and jargon, coming together to be a unity. To be a unit. Find a unity together. That's why when they say in the vows of marriage, two people becoming one. You know? Because what his is hers, what's hers is his, what's his is his, his is his, and hers is hers for the lesbian gay couples, you know. That's how it is. You're combining your lifestyles. Everything that used to be done so freely and frivolously as a solo person, that shit has to go. Everything that you were thinking about doing, like allow your plans and dreams and everything else that you had as a single person, that shit goes away. And now you are trying to incorporate this person's stuff, lifestyle, their current situation, the jobs, current situation with the kids, current situation with the law, the career, whatever, is now coming into play of yours. And now you guys are collaborating, and you are going to now be making some smooth cocktail of tea, organic shit, whatever, that's going to come together and supposed to be a blissful thing towards the end. And that's one thing a lot of people fail to really understand going into a relationship, myself included. Man, I'm trying to think of someone that I knew that actually knew going into it what to expect from a relationship. We don't, not at all. And that being said, there is a lot of sacrifice you give up for your own self and your own individuality to some degree as you try to build your life around this girlfriend, this boyfriend, and there's now this new relationship, and how to incorporate everything into everything. And so just talking as the one-on-one, not even adding kids or the jobs or anything else I said before that, you know? There's so much more that goes into it that a lot of people don't take into account. And so, like I said, two people come in together to make one unit. And that's where there's going to be a lot of bumping of heads. Unless everyone's on the same page from the very beginning. And even then, everything has to be drawn out in some kind of contract and written down so everyone can see up front, because otherwise people are still going to let shit fall to the wayside, fall through the cracks, because that's just how things work. I said now it's getting a little short. I'm not going to go too far. I don't have too much more to add on to this two people thing right now, because I kind of blanked out. But as I said though, this here is actually a very, very, very important thing to understand. Two train of thoughts that you can have. One person can save a relationship. One person can make a relationship much more effective, much more better. But they can't save it by themselves. That's my IMO towards the end of that. Two, it takes two people to make a relationship work. that no matter what is factually true no matter what. So, with that being said, I'm gonna end it off right there. Unfortunately, I didn't make it in 2 parts. I was gonna make it 2 parts. I'm making another like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes later, but I'm off. I'm out of juice. I'm hungry and I'm tired. I just got off work, 3rd shift, you know what I'm saying? But to hang this up and you know, do the good stuff. But as always, my friends, if this helped you out in any way, shape, or form, let me know down in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. And always expect more of this because we are going to actually get a lot more detailed. I'm gonna try my best actually. If you make it this far, fantastic, great. I'm gonna try my best to actually not spend as much time rambling and be a little more concise about preferably particular topics that are actually really interesting at times, you know? So, as always, my friends, we're gonna change the world one person at a time, starting with you. Make a wish,